Burr.
Okay, we should be live. Yeah, it is cold. It's not cold in the house, though.
I have had my little heater going here, but I had to turn it off.
We already got the heater going
Yeah.
in September, huh?
Yeah. I
How
run it
cold
all
is it?
summer long in my office.
I turned the heat on in my house this morning too. It was cold.
What was it, 40 some degrees this morning?
Mm-hmm.
No.
It was cold. It was cold.
I
So
think
Jesse, if you noticed, I put the signal on the porch.
I saw signals on the porch. Did you drop it in the cache?
I dipped it in the cache. Yeah, it's not in the cache. She's
Oh,
sitting.
you
outside.
didn't drop it.
We get a porch cache, and we picked up this 2-foot signal, or one and a half. You know the big signals that you guys.
The great big signal.
Oh yeah.
It was a trackable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, we'll take it. I'll put it on the porch. So I got it. I dipped it, and now he's sitting in one of the chairs. So if anybody wants a 2-foot signal,
better chain him down. He's going to disappear.
Track
I want
him.
him to, trust me. I want him to disappear. Let him out of here.
We just
We
got to
had-
watch for the rain.
I just realized, like, no, I think I pushed the chair back. You should be okay.
Okay.
We had a trackable sled at HQ up until yesterday. Someone was on a road trip and they're like, "We'll take it." I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So like, we grabbed
Oh,
it.
did you see the refrigerator door that was there?
Yeah, they took that too. That was nice.
I took that back in, I want to say 2000. It was 2012 at the block party, and took it in. I lived in Houston for a while, and the owner of it literally lived like half a mile away from me. I put it on his front doorstep. So took all the information that about me off of it, because I had to check it in the luggage, and put it on his front yeah, and put it on his front doorstep, and then and didn't ring the doorbell, walked away. The
I
next
love it.
event was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So we actually we have a signal on our porch, sitting in a chair. Maybe I'll take a picture of him tomorrow. I'll put him up on Instagram. But if anybody wants a 2-foot signal, he's on our porch. He's trackable. Come get him. He's trackable. All right, here we go. Everybody ready? Let me, Jesse, I'm just going to mute you. Jesse, Seattle Jesse. I'm just going to mute you. Okay. All right, here we go. Jesse, you ready? Chad, you ready?
Sure.
Sure.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
You wanna know how to find it. Seek it out when they hide it. You know it's in the bag when it's an easy grab. But come on, take a chance now. So go, geocache. And if you need help, we're right there in a flash. If you got a question, just call in and ask. I cover the stash on the Geocaching Podcast. The Geocaching Podcast.
Welcome, everyone. It's Wednesday. It's 8:30, which means it is once again time for the Geocaching Podcast. My name's Scott Burks. We have our co-host Jordan. It's in the next room.
Hello.
And please welcome to my virtual left, my other co-host, Chad. 427.
Howdy, y'all. It's coffee time.
Oh, it's kind of coffee time. Tonight's episode 736, recorded live on September 28th, 2022, is a conversation with Lackey JTcoffee. Phone lines are open. Just give us a call, 808-468-7924. That's 808-GOT-SWAG. And for you international callers, you can call us free via the web, via callinstudio.com/show/GCPC. But Chad, first, we got to get some business.
Got to pay the bills.
Got to pay the bill. You know, I just got the bill for the yearly. I know it because it's September, and the show, when we re-up the show in October, I had to buy.
Right.
So I know right around this time, all the bills come flying in. Yeah, so we just re-upped the website for another year. I just did. So the bills are coming in, guys. So guys, there's 2 ways you can help us out. One, you go to PayPal, PayPal.me/the Geocaching Podcast. You make that one-time donation, $5, $50. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Go straight to the bills. We really appreciate it. Or Chad. Or Chad,
you could become a patron of the show.
You join Patreon, guys. Why would you join Patreon? Good question. You get extra audio, extra video, only available to Patreon members. You get pat tag stickers, coins, pins, end of the year show, which is the best.
Ooh.
End of the year giveaway show. We just
That's right.
throw you everything. Anything in the prize closet gone by the end of that show. Remember, Chad? We were
Oh, yeah.
stuff last year. So, guys, you want to get in on that. It's the best part. You also have patron only shows. We have patron only giveaways. We have all the good stuff patrons get. It's time, if you've been getting the show for free, it's time you knuckle up to the bar. Much like Rar28 out of Pittsburgh did. He was a patron for a couple of years, stopped being a patron for a while, and he said, you know what?
He's coming back.
I'm coming back. And he's coming back at the gold star level too, Chad.
Awesome.
He didn't fart around. He went, you know what? I'm coming back hot. And we appreciate that very much.
We do appreciate that.
We gladly take your donation. And we pay the bills with it. So we appreciate you so much. Guys, you want to go on Patreon. Videos are coming hot now. What was last week's video? Chad, did you watch it?
Last week's video was up. That was the trifecta, was it not?
It was
No.
not. It was oldies.
Oh.
Was it the oldies?
Last week was the gadgets.
Oh, then this week, Chad.
Oh.
This week is the Seattle oldies. What is it? GC12, 17, M19?
Oh, good. They'll get to
I
see
get it
us
right.
out of breath.
Fun, right? You can see how out of shape we actually are. Us flatlanders trying to climb mountains is a sad sight.
Ooh.
Let me tell you, a sad sight. So yeah, that's what's coming this Saturday at 10 a.m. Chicago time. We've got some. That's what's coming for you patrons, and I got
some huffing and puffing.
I got a bunch of video in Fargo. Hey there, darn tootin' I did, and I got a bunch of video for Gilby. Guys, we're going to talk about Gilby next week. Jesse and I went to Gilby, North Dakota for Gilby Gone Wild. Holy mackerel, guys. That's all I got to say. We'll talk about it next week. So, guys, you want to become a patron, you can. You go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/the Geocaching Podcast.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Tonight's show is brought to you by Cachly. Cachly is an advanced geocaching app for iOS. It features powerful online and offline features, including filtered searches, offline maps, and offline saving of caches. Cachly has hundreds of advanced features that will make your geocaching experience just that much better. Get more info at cachly.com. That's CACHLY.com.
Tonight, we're also sponsored by Logwork. Logwork are the creators of the fantastic logbook, made with genuine Write in the Rain paper. The logbook designed for the micro containers of the present and future, geared towards the hider who would rather go cache than do cache maintenance. Find them at logwork.com. That's LOGWERK.com.
It's also brought to you by FTF Geocacher Magazine. FTF Geocacher is the magazine for geocachers written by geocachers. With 6 issues a year. Oh, I don't know what just happened. My screen freaked out on me.
You don't know it by heart by now? That's an easy
Do
one.
you want me to go?
Well, I was startled by, I don't know what happened. With 6 issues a year, FTF offers practical advice, hints and tips, cacher bios and milestones, geocaching events, trail tales, and all things geo-related. Find them at ftfgeocacher.com.
And by the Max Suds Body Company. Max Suds Body Company makes handmade bath and body products from all natural oils and butters. Items such as Poison Be Gone soap, itch spray, and 2-cent choices of bug spray are all great for outdoor enthusiasts like geocachers. At Max Suds Body, we have you covered from head to toe. Find them at maxsudsbody.com. That's MACSUDSBODY.com.
And by Practical Geocaching. Practical Geocaching sells utility items for geocaching. Our items are made in the USA, and we always provide free shipping. Find them at practicalgeocaching.com. That's PRACTICAL geocaching.com.
And by Arted Crafted. Arted Crafted creates unique geocaching themed tees and custom designs for you or your geocaching group. With adult sizes ranging from small to 5XL, if you have an idea for a shirt design and cannot find it, then you've come to the right place. Please give us the opportunity to show you how we can enhance your caching experience with your own custom design. Visit them at artedcrafted.com. That's ARTEDCRAFTED.com.
And by pattags.com for all your swag and pat tag needs. Visit our website to get creative help, to trade or log tags, or to purchase your own personalized pat tags. With over 44,000 tags to collect, pattags.com is everything you need to start your pat tag obsession. Visit them at pattags.com. That's PATHTAGS.com.
And by Geocaching Adventures LLC. Geocaching Adventures is a full-service travel agency specializing in creating the ultimate worldwide geocaching adventures for cachers and non-cachers alike. What could be better than having your geocaching bucket list vacation all planned and led by a traveling expert? Learn more by visiting us at geocachingadventuresllc.com. That's geocachingadventuresllc.com.
And finally, by GeoGo. Go caching with GeoGo, the geocaching app for Android that includes a Where I Go player, trackable scanner, companion watch app, and county finds database. If you're an advanced geocacher, GeoGo helps with powerful features like nearby cache notifications, optimized routes, offline mode, bulk TB logging, and much more. Learn more by visiting us at geogo.com. That's GEOOH-go.com.
And as always, Jad, you can find links to our sponsors on our website or
in our show notes.
in our show notes, Chad. See, that wasn't so bad.
No, it wasn't.
Got through that, man. We got a lot of sponsors. All right, so we got no news. Any news come on? Anybody hear any news coming on?
Nope.
I looked, I searched, I had nothing. So like, not even any sales in the store,
They're saving all the news for next week for Cash or Coffee.
right? Oh,
Yeah.
I got some good stuff for Cash or Coffee. Yeah. All right, so let's welcome JT. Her name is Jessie, but we have a Jessie, so I'm just gonna call her JT Coffee. So welcome JT Coffee to the show. Hello.
Hi, it's good to see you.
How are
That's a
you?
great caching name, by the way.
Thanks. My last name is Maxwell, and JT Maxwell was taken when I was trying to come up with my username. And my friend, I had gone out caching with my friend, and I didn't create a handle at that point or a username. I had just written, I think, Jesse or something on the log of my first few, and then my friend said, "Well, now you're a geocacher. Now you're going to need a username. You got to log in. You got to get your membership, and we have a list of caches. You have to do this right this minute." Trying to come up with something. JT Maxwell was taken, and so I'm looking around. I had a can of pens on my desk at the time for Maxwell House Coffee, and I was like, JT
Really?
Coffee,
Wow.
and here we are.
I didn't even ask you how you came up with your caching name. You just literally told us.
For the record, he usually does ask. So
I do.
Yeah, he would have.
That would have been all right. So tell us, now that you told us that, tell us more about you. How'd you get started caching? Let's start from the very beginning.
Yeah. Oh man, that was we started talking about caching in 2008, 2009. I worked at a nature center in Michigan, and one of my coworkers was a geocacher, and he said every year in the fall we would sit around and what kind of programs do we want to run next year, and what do we want to do? And he always said, we should do geocaching. It's really fun. The kids will like it for families. You use tools. It gets people outside. This is exactly the kind of thing we should do. And I remember distinctly all of us around the table being like, no, I don't even know what that is. That doesn't sound fun. It sounds
Really?
awesome.
That's funny.
Or not, no. And year after year, he would suggest that. And we all kept just saying, you keep saying that. And I still never hear of it other places. I just don't know. And then one year, a local elementary school called us and said, do you think that you could run an after school club for our fourth graders who are learning about maps and compasses and GPSs and do like a geocaching after school club?
Wow. Nice.
And the nature center I was at was like, absolutely, that sounds like a great idea. And so my friend is like, yep, that's right. I knew it. And so he said, in order to now teach about geocaching, we must all now go geocaching. And that was February 2011 in Michigan. And so my very first
Wow.
where we had in the second waypoint was underneath a bench, and I remember we had to dig the bench out in the snow, and then we had to get a little further so I could look under the bench and then get to a bush that had the ammo can, which of course we had to dig out as well. And we were like, well, that was kind of fun. What else is there? And then I haven't really been able to stop since.
That was what, 2008, 2009, right around there?
That was when we started talking about it. I made my account February 20. I found my first cache February 2011.
Oh, okay. GSM's in the chat rooms. GSM, she says, and now Michigan State Parks have one of the best geo tours around.
Yeah,
That's
they
funny.
do. There's a lot of amazing places to explore in Michigan, and of course, there's an August 2000 cache there. They've had geocaching there for a long time, and I have friends who work in the parks there, and they love promoting geocaching.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you start caching.
Yeah.
You get a name. And so did you ever stop? You've been caching ever since?
Caching ever since. I
How many
had
times?
some lower years and some, higher number of years, of course, but I kept going. And then my husband and I are originally from here, and we had moved to Michigan for him to get a graduate degree. And so when he had graduated, we came back. And now, then I was in the motherland of geocaching. I'm like, oh my gosh. I had cashed out Ann Arbor. We lived in Ann Arbor, and I had pretty much cashed out Ann Arbor and then some other little towns when we lived there. And then here, like, my stars, there's just caches everywhere. And just it snowballed. It snowballed from there.
Okay. And so you moved back to Seattle area or city proper. Did you move back to the city proper?
Yeah, we lived in the city proper. Once we ultimately bought a house, it's in the burbs a little north of here, but pretty close. And we lived in the city when we first moved back.
Okay. So you're caching, and geocaching is right there. And so what did you do in Michigan? What was your job? You worked for the parks. What'd you do?
Well, yeah, I worked at a nature center. My degree is in environmental education. And so I've always taught people about the love and joy of nature outside. And I've done that in a lot of different ways. And so working at the nature center there was exactly that, and just teaching people about animals and plants and what there is to love about being outside. And came here when I worked initially before here, I worked at the zoo in Seattle. And doing the same kind of stuff. We even did geocaching there because I thought, hey, we should add geocaches to the zoo. Of course we should.
Yeah, we have one of those.
And yes, and then I in that way I have a lot of nonprofit background, and so there's been a lot of volunteer experience in my past, either as a volunteer myself or really in the nonprofit world. You're always working with volunteers, or you're managing volunteers, you're encouraging youth volunteers. There's just so many opportunities, either episodically or long-term volunteers. And that's part of the skills that landed me where I am now.
Yeah, so let's get there. So you're working in Seattle. Obviously, you moved to Seattle and got a job at the zoo.
Yes.
Okay, and so so what made you decide? Did you see a job opening, or were you like, I'm just going to apply to end this? I mean, because I know right now you can just throw them your resume, and I don't know what
you can.
Yeah. I know. I don't know where it goes, but you can just throw them your resume. And
yeah, you can.
Did you do that, or did you actually apply to a job?
I applied to a job. It ended up being perfect timing. I was actually a COVID layoff at the zoo. There were a lot of people, most of our education department got laid off, and it was a tough time, of course, in Seattle in the beginning months of COVID. And so a bunch of us were laid off. And then the stars aligned, and this opportunity, it was posted. And I thought, that's probably something that I could do, because so many folks who work at HQ are engineers or designers or coders, and that's just not my jam. I don't do any of that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I like the people, and I'm more on the community side of things. And so I thought, gosh, if there's ever anything that I could do at HQ, that's probably it. And because I was a geocacher in Seattle, I knew a lot of the people that were already going to be on that team. And so it even made it a little bit easier. Right. I knew Brian from events and other folks that are either doing the interview process or on my team. And so it made it such a seamless, perfect thing where the stars just aligned.
And so did you actually, you applied for the job that you currently are at right now?
Yeah.
Wow, that is perfect. Wow, that is aligning.
So we do have a question from the audience here. Goblin 2004 is wanting to know if you know Gear Guru, which I'm sure you know, Jeff.
I do.
We all know Jeff.
Well, as a matter of fact, I knew Jeff before both of us were Lackeys, because he was a Washington geocacher too, and the two of us both volunteered for the Washington State Geocaching Association, which is our state club of geocachers. So I knew him from before, from before we were both on this side.
Previous life.
Yes, right? Exactly. Yes. And he was actually the one, we were on a hike, and he's like, there's a job on that team that's going to open up pretty soon. You should look at that. And I was like,
Yeah.
Probably should.
Probably should. Yeah, that's crazy
Yeah.
that you knew him beforehand. That's funny. Okay, so you get your role, and how freaking happy are you to get the job of geocaching?
It is.
Can we talk about like how happy you got? Did you get the call? Was it an email or was it a call?
It was a call, and it was just like I had to put the phone down, and I was just like, I can't even believe it. And I didn't tell any other geocachers that are friends of mine, that I was looking into this job, because I just thought it's too
sure.
close. I will, if it happens, it happens. That's great. And I got the job, accepted everything all worked out. I could tell people. And I called her, and who's a friend of mine who knew I was out of work looking for work, and I had even known her from the zoo. But she's a geocacher. And I said, I have to call you. Are you sitting down? And she's like, yes. And I said, number one, I got a job. Number two, I'm a Lackey. And she's like, what? And it is as amazing as you would imagine it to be. I mean, and so many levels. I mean, we are so cared for, and there's really yummy coffee in the Signal Cafe and tasty things in the drawers all the time. And balance of life and fun and work is one of the really key parts of culture. And that's such a refreshing, lovely thing to see, what's the human thing to do? Okay, let's do that. And then, we do a lot of work. We work really hard, but we have a lot of fun too. And like, I got into a lightsaber duel with Brian on May 4th and he used his own lightsaber, and he's like, hold on, and I'll get my, I was like, how is this real life? But it was so great. I could grab one too. I had my Tatooine shirt on. And it's like, I am living the dream.
Awesome. So you okay? So when you started work, was it still remote, or did you get to go in and go to work?
It was remote. My first day, I had all my stuff sent in, and I was like, opened my laptop from my home. I'm like, all right, here we are.
Lucky now.
Yeah.
Are you guys now back at work? I'm assuming. Are you guys?
It's still hybrid. Some people come in every day. The visitor center is open. That's one of the things that I do in my role is support the visitor center, and the Lackey's out on the at the desk welcoming people in. And so because I am so a part of the community, and I want to support my team who's out there, I'm here every day too, since the community is here and we are open. So, and some jobs don't require being in person, and some people come in sometimes and not others. So yeah, it varies.
Wow.
Nice.
What do you do? Do you go? I would go to work every day. I go to work every day now. I don't have to go to work, but
I'm in my office right now.
Yeah, you haven't gone to work. When's the last time you walked into work, Chad?
It's been a few weeks, but I go to work when I need to go into the lab.
Yeah,
That's it.
For work. That's like. So, do you go to work every day?
I do. Mm-hmm. I come into the office as much as possible. I come in. Yeah, there are some times if we had a remote meeting last week, and so there was one day a week when I didn't come in. But generally speaking, I'm here each day.
Okay, so your your title is the Community Volunteer Support Lead.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Tell us about that role. What is the Community Volunteer Support Lead?
It is a lot of things. My team handles lots of different things. It's a pretty big team, and we have lots of skills, and so we collect a lot of little episodic projects. The visitor center, like I mentioned, is something we support on my team. Mega events, little projects like GIF are part of something that my team puts together. Wow. And of course, like it says in the title, community volunteers. So all aspects of volunteer support of moderators, translators, and reviewers, and coaching, answering their questions, all that kind of thing, sending them appreciation and presents and visiting them and things like that. We also are the keepers of the guidelines, and we do the appeals process too.
Oh, really?
So,
Oh, I've dealt with you guys many times.
So
And I don't take live appeals, so don't get
Many
any
times.
ideas.
Yeah, no live appeal. But I have dealt with you guys many times.
So I assume you've had some pretty livid debates between reviewers about how to interpret rules.
Well, that's the thing about the their guidelines. They're called guidelines very specifically because they're supposed to be a little bit stretchy, and they are supposed to work for all kinds of situations. And so you have to apply them to challenges and to multis and to where I goes and in the Netherlands and in Africa and in Australia and in Washington State and all those places. So if they're so rigid, they don't fit in all of those different scenarios with all those different communities. And so there are lots of interpretations. And that's in fact one of the cool things about there being regional reviewers, because the idea is they are in the community that they're reviewing for. And so they know, well, like Michigan, for example, that one's under snow. So they're probably not going to be able to go check on that one for a while. So we're not, it's not going to get archived right away. We're going to wait until spring. Whereas someone who isn't in Michigan might not realize that there's 3 feet of snow there right now or something like that.
So what do you do with countries like Brazil? Well, when I put a cash out in Brazil, and it's still out there and active, that was 7 years ago. And the reviewer was not from Brazil, but he's from Portugal.
Yeah.
How does that work with knowing the local rules and regulations and stuff?
Yeah. Not every place has a local reviewer. That's the dream, right? That the community is big enough that would have its own local reviewer there. And it didn't start out that way, and the game grows. And so there are communities like Taiwan just got their first regional local reviewer, and Greece. And that's so exciting to see the community grow to that size. And right now, the reviewer for Brazil is in Portugal. They know the language, which is important.
Right.
And, they may have some background. Maybe they go there a lot. Maybe their family is from there. They're originally from there. Usually there's some sort of personal tie to that place that helps them be like, yeah, you know what, I could do that region. And it depends on the specific story, of course.
Okay.
So I want to dip my toe into the GIF pond. No GIF this year.
Right. That was in the blog. We said we have so much to do with the community, the celebration, the anniversary celebration, that we're going to put a pin in GIF for 2022, but we'll see you in 2023.
So it's just gone for a year. It's coming back.
Right. It was just we're going to put all of our eggs in the basket of the community, the celebration event.
Okay. So when GIF does happen, so you guys are in charge. Are you the ones that are choosing the videos? Are you guys, how does that work? How does the ground speak or headquarters now? How do you guys, I know that's, how do you guys actually choose those videos? Is it like,
it's a lot. There's a lot of different aspects to it. There is a set of, there's kind of a rubric of, there's a duration, I believe. I'd have to remember the specifics, but there's a checklist of your GIF submissions should look like this. And then that's the first filter that they go through. Do they check all the boxes? And surprisingly, a number of them do not. Okay, well then, thank you very much for submitting. Here is this first pool. And then a bunch of the reviewers and the volunteers of the world get to take another stab at it. And then a bunch of lackeys take another stab at it. And so there's multiple reviews of the reels, and they kind of get eliminated step by step to get to that final reel that everybody gets to see.
So a bunch of hands go on it before it. It's not 4 people in a room deciding the fate of.
Right. No, it's not.
That's good. Okay.
There we go. Turn the lights back on. They're motion activated. I was sitting too still.
No, that's great that they actually do that. That it's actually it is a headquarters decision. It's not just
Yes.
the reviewer.
Yeah, and we include the reviewers too, which is pretty cool.
Oh, it's kind of nice. Okay. What about the visitor center? One of the things I loved about the visitor center is that they spoke different languages. The people who work there. I thought that was a nice touch. Very cool. That, I mean, because we went on was it Tuesday, Monday? I can't remember.
Tuesday after the event.
So it was us. I think we were the only Americans left in that state.
Yep.
Because everybody else was from Germany, France, everywhere. Any
I was still in the state.
any cashiers we met were not American, which I don't care. But it's just, I mean, we went up Tuesday to the HQ, and we were the only Americans there. But the Lackeys actually were speaking the language of the people, which I thought was a really nice touch.
Now I've lost count. There's a bunch of different languages represented at HQ, which is really cool. And it grows over time. And it's one of the things that we think about as we hire folks. I think on most job descriptions, at least community facing, non-English languages a plus, German a super plus, or something like that. And it is really cool. And what I love about watching that is when you hear kind of the introduction, especially during that time, we were kind of doing an introduction and then saying, okay, now we're here. Let us know if you need anything. But even in times when it's a little bit more low key and people are just kind of coming in once at a time, we start in English, but then if we know that they are from Germany or they speak Dutch or Spanish or French or something like that, and we bring in people who in the office who can speak to them or Korean or something, to watch people's faces just light up like, oh, I can speak for this is so great. And then to watch that joy just spread and watch them, sometimes it makes you feel more comfortable. And then of course that feels amazing for the Lackeys who can speak that language to use that skill. And then to watch that engagement just grow and to make someone feel so welcome is such an exciting thing.
Yeah, I thought it was a super nice touch. I even commented to my wife. I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing that they're speaking their language, So I thought that was really nice. So since we're talking about the volunteers, let's talk about the volunteers. Tell me about your team.
These volunteers, they're my people. They are amazing geocachers first, right? Like you don't become a geocaching community volunteer without starting out as a geocacher. So these people are deep dives into the game, and they love those like niche corners and stuff. And so I feel like whenever I'm talking to a volunteer, I already have a lot in common with them because they're either working on some obscure challenge or they have cached for a long time or they started caching when there wasn't an app or something like that. We've got lots of things in common. And so they are deeply devoted and have a deep passion for this game because they volunteer their time to help some aspect of the community. So they moderate the forums, they translate things like the blog or even the app or all kinds of aspects that start here in English and then they're translated into so many different languages, or they review the caches that get placed out into the world. When you hit submit, it goes into a queue for a reviewer, and either a earth cache or just a typical cache. Mm-hmm. And they check it out to make sure it matches and checks all the boxes of the guidelines. That's what they're reviewing against. And if it looks good, they hit publish. If they have some feedback, they might send it back to you for some updates or some questions. And then when it's all ready, they set it out into the world, and they get to be the ones that put new geocaches on the map that other people have placed there.
So you're saying they have to be a cacher to work under you. The volunteers, obviously, I'm sure. Have you ever had a volunteer that wasn't a cacher? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, not really. Everybody's a geocacher in their own way, right? So there's some people who are like, well, I'm on a 9-year streak and I have found 50,000 caches and stuff like that. And they're no more or less of a geocacher than people who have 3,000 finds and have never been on a streak or something like that. But and we're all into different aspects. Some of the volunteers are super into coins, some are not. Some are super into challenges, some are not. It varies a lot. And my team are lackeys who are here, and then I get to support the volunteers. They're not lackeys, they're not here, they're all over the world. And it's one of the challenges of the job is that I don't get to see them every day. And most volunteer roles or management roles that I've had, the volunteers come in and you see them all the time, or you work alongside them, or something like that. But some of them I haven't met yet. They've just been either emails, or I've done video calls or something. And I would love to see them more often, but they are truly all over the world, and it's a gift to get to go see them. And I do a lot, but I wish I could see them more.
So thinking about the mass number of volunteers that you work with, how much email do you get? I mean, I can imagine that you're swamped with email.
We should do that in a day and see it on my team, like the collective number of emails that we get in a day. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So if if someone is interested in volunteering, how does that work? So do they contact you? Do they contact headquarters? Like, how does that, or does it have to have an in to become a volunteer?
They get chosen by their peers, by other volunteers. And one of the volunteers was just saying, one of the engagements that we do is a live chat, and we were talking to them about how do they answer that question if they're at an event and someone's like, oh, you're a reviewer, I'd sure like to become a reviewer. And they were sharing how they respond to that, and one said, I usually say, don't call us, we'll call you. Which cracked me up. It varies on when a new volunteer gets added to a team, or when the community grows and a local person can be added to the team. It doesn't happen the same way every single time, in terms of like one person retires, another person comes on right away. Sometimes that happens, sometimes not. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the community just grows and there was a team of 3 and they need another person, so then we just add on, even though the original 3 is still there. But they are reviewers and volunteers are nominated by their team, and they know in the community who has a general level head about things like guidelines, or a really understanding of the balance between being a player and being on the other side, and who is collaborative to work for and doesn't necessarily jump to conclusions or something like that. And then they let us know who they nominate.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm glad that a few years ago they started peeling back the cover of the volunteer reviewers. So I know all the reviewers in my area. Mm-hmm. Most of them now actually became reviewers more recently, and I knew them as cashers beforehand. And it's great to pick their brains about some ideas and things too. It's like, I know this might be a stretch, but what do you think about this on a cash? And it's like, well, I don't know. It's like, let me think about that.
Yeah, and you ask any of them, they'll say, we want to see the geocaches placed. So we're going to help you find the pathway through the guidelines to get to a live geocache. So if they might give you feedback like, okay, well, you can't nail anything into a tree unless there's permission. So can you strap it around instead of nailing, or something like that? They're geocachers too. They're all on the same team as the players are, because they're geocachers too, and they want to see those cool ideas out into the wild.
Does anybody who work there not cache?
Who works at HQ?
Yeah. We
all go geocaching, and there are some people who start working at HQ who have never cached before.
So there are like I don't even know what that is. I'm just going for the job.
Well, you don't. they might be like a designer or something, or an engineer or something like that, that is a really good designer, but they haven't necessarily played the game. Maybe they've heard of it, or they have tried it a couple of times with friends, but they hadn't made a username or something. It's not normally like, oh, what on earth is this? In like an interview process. But what's actually really cool about that is to have inside the walls of HQ, there's a cross section of the community. We have brand new players and we have experienced players and everybody in between. And I think about that, of how, like, when you're building something new or you're making a change in the app or something like that, you want it to be for all types of players, new players, relatively new players, experienced players. And like me, I have been able to play the game for a long time. It's been a very long time since I was a new player. There was no app when I was a new player. So I have an idea for what a new player might need in the app. But as not a new player, I would be wrong.
Right.
And when these folks come in and they're like, as a new player, this is what I don't understand, and this is what we need to put in the app. Oh, that makes perfect sense. Like I
exactly,
because I've been here for, I've been playing the game for
12 years. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The way a new player uses an app will be completely different from the way I use an app.
Exactly. And so it's neat to see people are like, well, as someone who's, they might be saying, as someone who's never found a multi before, I don't even know what that is. When I press that icon, I'm like, oh, let's have a message about it. Or
it's funny how you say that, because like when the new app came out, when the new one, I can't remember, 14, 15, I don't remember when the new app came out.
Oh, that's good trivia. I don't
The
know
intro.
The intro.
It was the intro app back then.
But like it was almost too new.
Well, there is an app, and then the intro app, which was that came later, which was kind of like a very basic version of the original app. And I think that's what they built off of the current app.
Right. The current one is way better than that intro one. It was like too new. If somebody, I'd been caching for 7 years by then, 8 years, and it was like,
it's like I want off this this beginner information.
Yeah, right. It was, you had to get past it. You had to get past the beginner information. But then I think now you could turn it off. I think that they finally did it where you could like turn all that stuff off, and it got a lot better. It was definitely a growing pains with that new app. I loved the old app, so I was always really sad to see it go. It just worked. It was great. It was, and that being said, now there's so many Cashly, GeoGo. There's so many great apps. Like at jtcoffee, do you use the real app? Do you use like? Are you an iPhone user? Are you an iPhone user, or are you
Android?
All right. Between me and you, okay, and the rest of the world, what app? Show me the app on your phone. What's the app? Don't lie.
It's not going to show very well. It's our app. It's our. There it is.
That's the only app you use? Is that the only app you use?
It is. It's the only one I've got on there.
That's what it is. Is that the only app you use? I didn't say is that the only app that's on there.
Yeah, it's the only one I use. It's the only one that's on there. I like using our own app because, at events, so often we get the like, well, how do I do this and such a thing? And I'm like, and if I was on some other app, I wouldn't know.
You've never used GeoGo? You've never used CGO?
I have used GeoGo. And I've been caching with people who have iPhones, and Cashly, man, that's a beautiful app. And Waymarkly and all that stuff that Nick makes, like, they're just great. They're so great. We're doing county caching a couple weekends ago, and seeing all the county lines, and it's like,
yes,
this is amazing. And I was just saying, man, I'm gonna have to now get an iPhone just so that I can use Cashly.
That's what Chad did. That's like a Chad right there. That's what
GeoGo. You've got the county maps, so.
Oh man!
So, a listener gifted Chad their old iPhone, so Chad could.
But it was locked, and I had to try to get it broken, and then it kept on going back to wanting me to sign in credentials and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, that's too much of a pain.
Damn Apple!
I signed a challenge recently about finding a certain number of categories of waymarks. And so I found waymarks in the past, but I was like, well, now I got to do categories of waymarks. And then, doing it on the Android without the app, and then, I have to zoom in on the page and folks with the app, they're just zooming through. I'm like, oh man, no.
Yeah, Waymarkly. But Android does have the benchmark app that iPhones don't.
Yes.
The benchmark.
Which is my shining contribution to a group. I do have that on my phone of if is there a benchmark nearby? Hold on, let me check. And yeah.
There's a water tower over here.
Yes.
Right.
It's gotta be a benchmark,
On
right?
the bridge. It's looking good.
We do have a call, so I'm gonna bring it in. Let's bring it.
Boy.
It is a 435. I think that's Goblin. It's like Goblin Camper. Hello.
Yes, it is Goblin Camper 2004.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Do you have a question for
I
JT
just
Coffee?
wanted to do a shout out for one of our cashers in our area.
Okay. Who?
His caching ID is Mike RE, and he's a fantastic friend and geocacher.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay. Anything you want to say to JT Coffee?
So if he's listening to the show, well, I hope he's listening to the show. Hi, Mike.
All right.
Hi, Mike.
Thanks, Tiffany. You be well.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Keep on caching.
Bye-bye. Okay, so I want to go back to let's go back to the job. So you got this job.
Mm-hmm.
You're a cacher. Dare I say dream job? Okay, dare. It would be mine. So I'm gonna go on a limb and say dream job. Everybody's jealous of you that you have this job. It can't be easy. It can't be. You can't walk in. Don't tell me your life is rainbows and sunshine. What are the challenges to this job? There's got to be challenges to it.
It is a lot of rainbows, honestly, and I pinch myself.
Oh, now you're making it worse. Come on, now we all hate you more.
I was just saying, I was saying at the event, the celebration event, I knew I was always going to go to that event, but I got to go as a Lackey, and I didn't imagine myself going with tags to give people and trading cards and a shirt of Lackey, and it was like being a host of this event that I imagined that I could just attend. Mm-hmm. And it was just amazing. And the people I get to meet and the people I get to be friends with because of it. And it's just amazing. And, there's always challenges, there's always frustrating days. And one of the things I was saying before is that the volunteers are just everywhere. And I so wish I could see them because they're amazing people, but also because they're far away. And we have so many gifts of technology where I can Zoom them or call them or Slack them or text them or email them or whatever. But so it's not like we're out of communicado at all. But it is just being in person with them and getting to talk about them and to them, learning about their communities, learning about them as a person and how they got into geocaching and reviewing or translating or moderating or any of that stuff is really amazing to hear. And it's hard sometimes to be so far away. And some things are they're a long conversation, if we're talking about something challenging about event stacking or any other issue that might be happening. And it can be difficult to really get the full picture kind of via email. I would love to just go for a walk with them and chat it out. And so sometimes I have that opportunity and sometimes I don't. I wish I did. And there's things in terms of the game decisions, things are always more complicated than they seem, or, they're from the outside perspective. And I thought this too, as a player, if only we could have this, or if only they would just do this, just do that. Why not? Just do the thing. And now on this side, I realize I see how the decisions are made or the audience that's being targeted or why the decision is. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes so much more sense, because things are always more complicated than they seem. And sometimes when people are frustrated, I want them to know, I want them to understand the full picture sometimes. And sometimes I can share that, sometimes that I can't. And sometimes it's even the full picture, even if I can share it, it's folks aren't always necessarily always happy to hear the full answer, but I want them to understand, so that can be hard sometimes, because you can't make everybody happy. Of course, we do the best that we can, and we try to be as consistent as we can, and we keep as many players in mind as we possibly can, and I think we do it pretty well. But there's always, of course, someone who's like, oh, but the thing, just do the thing, and sometimes there's a perfectly reasonable answer, and you don't like the answer, and so it's hard to hear.
Oh, we wonder all the time on the show the decisions you guys make.
Oh yeah, we sure do. We just had a conversation the other day, ignoring puzzle caches. It turns out they were challenges. Oh, we don't have time for a puzzle, but hey, we got time for challenges.
Damn right.
Yep.
Right? They need their icon.
Yes, I know they do. Come on, JD. They need their own icon.
Oh. They've got their attribute. You can search for them via the search tool.
You know what? I've been rehashing this argument since like 2010.
You're gonna die on that hill.
I'm gonna die on this hill. Since 2010. And do you remember? You might remember, JT. I don't think either of these were cachers back then. When Groundspeak was like, we have an exciting thing. It's something with challenges, and we were like, oh my god, we're getting it. And it was that silly challenge game that they had.
And it was challenges as opposed to other challenges.
Oh my god, it's like a collective groan.
Were
you around for that?
Oh yeah, I was here well before it started. So I started in 2010. I think
that was
it was like late 2011, maybe 2012.
Ooh, that was
I caught the tail end of it in 2011.
It had started not too far before the headquarters event in 2012 that I had gone to. I know that because we did a bunch of them out there, a bunch of silly ones, like getting our picture in front of a Google office, which there's a Google office, or at least was a Google office there in Fremont, close to headquarters. And so I got a picture in front of it, and
it could have worked. And there's something right now that's something kind of close to it. It's a reverse. It's kind of a reverse, kind of. But the way they said it, like it's a challenge, when the whole community wanted a challenge cache icon, which I don't think we're ever going to get, but I'm still going to die on that hill. But like, then they actually said something with challenges, and if they hadn't done that, they might have slid by, or if they named it something other than that, it might still be around today. But the fact that they named it challenges when everybody was expecting an icon and we didn't get it, I think that killed it. That just killed it right there. Like it was dying. It was dead.
And we didn't get any smileys with it. So I mean,
oh, we did. No, it counted towards your.
But they went away.
It was a separate thing. It was on the top bar. You can have your smileys and your little.
Right.
Oh God, it was so long ago. Oh,
I only know of it from a player perspective. I don't know any of the decisions on this side, but
well, please don't let that ever happen again. No.
I remember going to Great Lengths as a player, though. We were on a vacation, my original geocaching buddies and I, to Mackinac Island in Michigan, and it was just filled with them. And so we found some caches, we got those, and we just felt so smug that we got all these different things found.
Okay, let's collectively all hate Jesse now. And Jesse's going to talk about the fun and the perks of working at HQ. And we're just going to sit here and throw daggers at you and hate you. So tell us all about working at HQ and the perks involved and how much fun it is.
Yeah, like I was saying, there's tasty coffee. A perk is different for everyone, right? But for me, like the beans in Signal Cafe are my favorite of all. Like
you're in Seattle. I mean,
and like my family gives like these coffee beans from a roaster in Seattle. We give it to each other at Christmas time, and so they're like it's special Christmas, like the good stuff.
Mm.
And I have it now every day in the kitchen.
Wow.
And I was just like, I was shocked. Like, you have that to all the time? And they're like, yes, all the time. There's a keg in Signal Cafe, you know, like there's tasty treats.
So, wait, did you say a keg? That's
Keg.
a keg?
It's a kegerator.
Beer. Keg.
Travel too.
Guys, there's liquor. There's a beer keg at work.
And it's and like I was saying, the people I get to meet are just absolutely, I mean, I'm here today talking to all of you, and I know you all better because of the role that I'm in. And my geocaching bubble grows and grows and grows practically every day because I get so much exposure to the community, partly because of the volunteers who all have their own special sub communities.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to work with them either to solve problems or to congratulate reviewers or you know, bring on new moderators or translators or reviewers. And it's really a gift. It's really, really cool. And I think that's such a huge benefit and then to be able to, since we're, you know, supporting the volunteers, sometimes we get to go and see them. And, you know, I got to go to Belgium this year to go meet up with the volunteers that are there, the Netherlands volunteers and the Belgian volunteers. And soon I'll go to Germany to do the same thing. And it's just like, this is amazing.
That's your job. It's your job.
Yes.
You get paid to go cash. That's fantastic. Amazing.
It is.
Amazing.
So for the puzzle caches that do not have a geochecker on them, do you got some super secret way to verify if the chords that you solved are correct or not?
Good question.
Do I have a super secret way? No. Like I just hope for the
You
best.
can't ask someone in the server room, hey, can you verify these chords are correct?
No, I just hope for the best.
Like the rest of us.
Yep.
Okay. Questions in the chat room. Short edits. What's the app for benchmarking? Nobody could find it.
I don't know. I don't have an
Benchmap.
Android. Ask.
It's called
It looks like
Benchmap.
somebody answered that in the chat. The chat is hopping tonight. Way
Okay,
to
it's-
go,
it's somebody
everyone.
answered. And then GT Coffee. I heard that all the volunteers are being celebrated now, not just reviewers. Is that something she helped do?
Well, it's something that we've definitely started doing recently of the, you know, translators are volunteers too. And moderators are volunteers too. A lot of times they overlap. Moderators are also reviewers, or Earth Cache reviewers also review typical caches, or translators are also reviewers, or there's overlap there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they need different things. You know, they don't need the same types of engagements. It's important that reviewers communicate with each other to help support one another. What would you do in this scenario? This is what we do over here. This is what we do over here. Oh, okay, then I can do this over here. Translators don't necessarily need that. You know, how would you translate this in Korean? Well, here's how we would translate it in Italian. Not helpful. But you know, within the sub teams, they can support each other, and we can build tools to help them support each other. And they've received all recognition from us and attention from us in lots of different ways. We've tried to include everyone as best as we can in our engagements so that everybody feels acknowledged for the work that they put toward their communities.
Do you know what's coming up next year? The events and the fun things. That's on the plate.
Yes,
Do you know? Like, do you have secret? Do you have intel? Like, you know, or are you like locked out of that, or like, do you guys not even know? Like,
some things are surprises for us.
mm-hmm.
I personally, I didn't know what the Lackey coin looked like up until everybody else did.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun, and some of that's so fun, right? Like I get to be shocked when everybody else is like, "Oh my gosh, look at this cool coin!"
But like all the events, all the the signal thing that's going on right now. Did you know all that was coming? And
yes. And we know some of the engagements that we have planned, because some of it has to be planned pretty far out. Like we're saying, we start that ball rolling.
Is it exciting to know that, like, oh my God, they're gonna love this? Like, it's gonna be exciting. That's kind of a nice perk right there. So you know stuff before it comes out.
Yes,
I don't
it's
know.
hard to like sometimes.
I know.
It's like,
What is the?
but-
Yeah. What? That's how does none of that seep? None of that comes out. Even like, wow, it's pretty amazing that like at least I hear none of it. And I hear nothing. Nothing
Yeah.
on anybody, but like it doesn't hit the forums. It doesn't hit Reddit. Nothing. Like anybody could easily just anonymously say what's happening and coming
Yeah.
out.
It's a love of the game. And like I said, everybody plays it a little bit differently, and some have, some lackeys play a lot. They have high numbers, and that doesn't necessarily make them, a better geocacher, of course, than others that don't. But they all love the game and all respect all the things that folks are working on, and love the reveal. So we all are very tight-lipped, even though it's hard because some stuff is so exciting, and I can't wait for some of the things to happen. Yeah.
And so what is how do I put this? I'm trying to word it the right way. Chet, do you have a question? If not, I'm gonna try and figure out how to put this.
Go ahead and figure it out.
Oh, I gotta figure it out.
I'm being a late night map perf.
For what? What are you looking at?
I wanted to see. I forgot where Owensboro, Kentucky was.
Oh, that's
It's in Kentucky.
Yeah, it's in Kentucky. Yeah, but I'm originally from Indiana, so it's like it's near Evansville. To me, it's near Evansville, Indiana.
It's
So I
on the
know all
skinny side, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's on the long side.
So are you?
the
Are you?
Or on the
Right.
hang on.
I'm gonna hold on, Chet.
We need a
Does
geography.
this pertain to this, Chet, or are you literally just looking up
Yes.
map? Are you map perving right now?
I'm not map perving. I was thinking something got my mind on Geo Woodstock, and I was like, okay, where is that again this year? All right, it's like I knew it was somewhere in Kentucky, so I did a little Google search. I found those in Owensboro. I was like, where's Owensboro? so I had to look it up.
So how do you decide? Is it a fight? Like, how do lackeys decide where they're going? Because I know you guys are allowed to go to megas.
Oh, I know this.
Is it a fight?
That's how we decide. There's
Is it
so many different ways. Like there's not
like,
one way, because some people go on their own, right?
Oh, really?
And some people,
Your own dime.
some
Your own
people
dime.
just
You're going.
go by really any like Going Ape or Tri-Cities Mega. I go to those just because it's nearby. Why not?
Of course, yeah.
And there are a bunch of folks going caching's coming up. Lots of folks just went on their own for that, and some folks are that it happens to be near where they're traveling anyway, and so they're like, well, there's a mega, I'll just pop on over. And so some folks just choose to go independently or solo privately. Some folks are sent there on business reasons. There's something they want to talk someone they want to talk to, something they want to talk about. They want to see how this particular thing happens or in the game, or they need more experience in this particular aspect of the game or something like that. Or, maybe you want to learn more about geocoins. Well, GeoCoin Fest is for you. Go there. Or something like that.
Lackeys are sent there too, aren't they?
Yeah, and that would be an example of how they're sent to go learn this thing about the particular thing that's happening there. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, we earn their way, and there's a lottery, and we can put our names in, and that was it. So not every mega gets a Lackey. And not every Lackey goes to a mega, but there is a fun little way of that we draw names to see who gets to go to which one. And that, okay. So it can be really fun.
So what level are you?
She's not telling.
She's not telling. Oh.
Yeah, there's a little internal system that helps us learn. It incentivizes the game. And it helps people learn. It's intentional. It's not just right. Go geocaching and have a good time. I mean, that's of course what it is too, but it helps people learn different aspects of the game and helps kind of game it along, right? And there's different levels and things, and you earn different little things at different little levels. And yeah, that's pretty fun.
And do you get better perks at different levels?
Yes.
So if you cash more, you get more. You get higher levels. Is that what?
Yes.
More tickets.
And then there's some of us who have gotten our way to the very top of that little game, and I'm one of the people who's at the top of those.
So can you?
So do you walk in the door at the top because of all your cashing?
Numbers? Yeah, right.
You don't start at 0. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
I was really afraid of that. So like, oh no, I'm out of caches in Seattle. No.
And so, could you pretty much pick where you want to go? I mean, what if you say you wanted? I'm just gonna throw. Say you wanted to go to West Bend. Okay, West Bend, Wisconsin to West Bend. Could you go? Or
I mean,
on GC's dime, not your own dime. I mean,
it depends. Like I could put my name in to be drawn for that. And yeah, some people, in fact, I think went on, was it West Bend on their own dime? Anyway, but you can put your name in. It's not a guaranteed visit because it's not, again, not every Lackey goes and not every mega gets a Lackey. And so and if everybody wants to go to the same thing, a handful of people are drawn. So it's not that, like, oh, the whole company's going to New Zealand this year or something like that. It doesn't always work out that way. But yeah, you can decide where you want to put yourself on the list of hopefuls.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. Like what a fantastic perk to be able to go to a mega in another state or even another country. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I got one more question for you, JT Coffee, and then I'm going to wrap it up. What is with the new signal?
Did you know that's something my team does too? Like you like that's perfect that you asked.
Creepy.
So, Signal got a makeover, and
I don't know. Is it he, she? I don't know what it is. It got a makeover.
It's like share. Signal is just Signal. Signal, the new Signal costume looks more like the digital representation of Signal rather than the plush Signal. The original version of the mascot looks more like the plush version.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There's a number of things that had us make the decision of changing it over to the looking more like the digital Signal. One of the reasons being that's the Signal you see most often is digital Signal, either in Signal's Labyrinth or as a trackable.
It's weird to see it walking around, man.
Mm-hmm.
It is weird.
I think he looks more. I think it looks more alive, like that having pupils and like that it just looks so much like warmer and happier and the older one because I've been looking at it for so long looks just more dated. I love the new one, and I know it's weird because a lot of people are like, but I just saw, and now it's wait a minute.
Something's different here.
Yeah. I saw Signal. I saw the new Signal at I think it was in Seattle. I think.
Yeah.
I think that's where we saw that because we had just seen the old one, just pretty recently, and the new one way different. It's weird looking. I guess I'll get used to it. I guess this is a matter of just getting used to it. But
there's a really cool company that puts those together in the US, and the material wasn't available from the old one, and then it just snowballed to like.
Oh, really? Is that what happened?
Let's do it.
So I was saying, why would they change it? Was that why? Is that why they changed it? Because you're looking.
Part of it was that, like, well, okay, we can't get this particular material, so things are going to have to change in general. And if things are changing, let's just do it.
Sure, that's interesting. Yeah. And how long ago was that? Was that recent? How long is that?
That was this year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That fast?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. All right, that's all. Chad, Jesse, any other questions for JT Coffee here?
No, just know we all wish we had your job.
Do you take your cats out on your paddleboard?
I don't go afloat with them. They really like sitting on my paddleboard. My little pixel icon is me on my paddleboard, and that's actually me, and that's actually my paddleboard. That's what's another amazing thing that was kind of a surprise becoming a Lackey is that the skill of making those pixel icons, like it's really me, and those are really my cats. Those are what they look like. It's not just two cats that are plopped next to me. Like those are Luna and Sachmo, my two cats.
Right.
And when I bring my board in to wash it, they love sitting on it and sniffing it and like walking around on it, but they don't actually go afloat with me. One day, maybe.
One day. No, I saw that and was like, I had to ask.
That's her Lackey coin. Is that right?
My little tag,
Yeah.
my little pixel icon. If you
Her
look
pixel
on my
icon, yeah.
profile.
So your Lucky tag is different, correct?
it's
I know I've got it.
I have my Lackey tag is my pixel icon, just like everybody's Lackey tags. It has the circle and it has your
Okay.
username and it has your pixel icon in it. And
It's in this box somewhere.
the loot box.
And how long you got to work there before you get a Lackey tag? Is
It's
it
one of those
immediate?
things you earn.
You earn. Oh, you got to earn. Oh, you earn it. Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. See all these things, guys, we're learning about working at HQ. JT Coffee, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Back at you.
Such a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And it is our last day, our last show of the month of having guest hosts. So thank you so much for being the final guest host for the month of what is it, September? Yeah,
It is.
September.
Just for a few more days.
So thank you, JT Coffee, for coming in. I'm gonna throw you back on mute. Do not go anywhere. Do not go away. I'm throwing you back on mute. Thank you so much. Jesse and Chad, always a pleasure. Chat room, thank you guys so much for sending any questions tonight. We really appreciate it. Chad, anything else to add, sir?
No, sir.
Jesse, anything else to add?
Nope.
Up as always, thank you, my dear. All right, let's close this show. Here we go. Please join us again every Wednesday night at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central as we stream live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and on our website, geocachingpodcast.com. The archive video versions of our podcasts are available on our website or on our YouTube channel, and the audio versions are available on your favorite podcatcher. If you like the show, please head over to Apple Podcasts and rate, review, and subscribe. We really appreciate it, and it really helps the show when you do. If you prefer to watch the show, make sure you click the subscribe or get notified buttons to know exactly when we go live. And hey, if you haven't already, please consider becoming a patron of our show. With tiers starting as low as $3, you get a ton of additional information, extra video, extra audio, only available to our patron members. Please head on over to patreon.com today and subscribe. That's patreon.com/the geocaching podcast. Hey, Chad.
Yeah.
I just realized I didn't say what next week's show is going to be.
Cash or coffee. It's the
That's
beginning
right,
of the
guys.
month.
It is the beginning of the month, and it's time for Cash or Coffee because we didn't have it in September.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
We had to
It's been
skip it.
months, and I know Scorpio Red is freaking out because we haven't had a Cash.
Oh, I better get some numbers. I better get some
Better
numbers
get some
together.
counties.
I got a lot of counties, Chad.
We got counties. We gotta get the numbers.
Rock. So GT Cup, I just know we have a contest going on this show the entire year. Whoever can get the most counties in the year.
New counties.
New counties.
New counties.
New counties, not counties you've already had. Don't count. I think I'm not even gonna tell you what I'm at. That's next week's show. So yeah, guys, I also found a fantastic article about anti-geocaching article. We're gonna read that and talk about that. It's so good. It's so good. We're gonna talk about that as well. That's next week. Cash or coffee, guys. Just so you know. So anybody, you guys, anything you want to talk about, you give us a call next week. Cash or coffee. I know we're gonna get calls. Here we go. Let's go. Sorry, guys. Bring it back. Sorry, hold on. There we go. Thanks once again to our sponsors, Cashly, Logwork, FTF Geocaching Magazine, the Maxnuts Body Company, Practical Geocaching, Arted Crafted, PathTags.com, Geocaching Adventures LLC, and GeoGo. Please visit our sponsors, and when you make a purchase, you tell them the GCPC sent you. That's all we got this week. So we'll see you next week talking geocaching and taking your phone calls. In the meantime, be good, be safe, hug your loved ones, and we will talk to you guys next week. And we're clear. Chad keeps clicking on stuff.
That was me.
Oh, Jesse keeps clicking on stuff. I'm
That
trying
was
to
my
close
my
the show out.
my ring hit my chair. I'm sorry about that. Okay, wait, Jesse, I do have a question for you.
Now I just literally ended the
Yeah.
show.
No, it's
I gotta-
fine. It's
I
not
gotta
a
take
show
her off
question.
mute. Hold on, I gotta take her off mute. Okay, Jesse, we can hear you.
Is your name Jesse?
Meanwhile, we're still on the air, by the way, just so you know.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
I know.
my-
I understand that.
So
Okay.
My
That is
Jessica,
like
first
your name is
name-
Jesse.
it's Jessica, but I have never
No.
been Jessica. Like I have even my baby pictures, Jessie at 1 month old, Jessie 2 months old. Like I've just always been Jessie.
Okay, I was just curious because I am
She's-
Jesse.
Are you a
That
Jessie
is
too, or
on
are
my
you
that
Jessica?
is on my birth certificate.
No,
No,
she's a
I am
Jessie.
Jesse
Nice.
on my birth certificate. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I was just curious because
we've had
there's
two
not very many of us.
we've had 2 Scotts on the show before. We've had 2 Chads on the show before, but this
Jesse,
is the first time we had 2
2
Jessies.
That's right. Yes. I never thought we'd have 2 Jessies on the show.
Right?
Well,
Here
I
we
would
are.
have thought that
2
2
female
Chads would have been the last, but you know, we've had both Bounce, who's a Chad, and
And,
Cassius.
Tricasius,
Trey Cash.
also a Chad.
which I got a picture with all 3 of us together, 3
Wow.
Chads in one location. That's a rare instance.
It's like it's a
The Tri Chad.
try
Exactly.
Chad. There you go. Yes. All right, let me get off the internet. Hold on, everybody stay. All right, guys, thank you so much. Nobody leave. Everybody, thank you so much. We'll talk to you guys next week. Be well, be safe. Bye-bye.